Oh, good morning, algebra. Welcome to our do now. Oh my gosh, look at that equation. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2,457. Oh, this is going to be the hardest question ever. Oh man. All right. So, A, what's the slope? And B, what would be the slope perpendicular to that line's slope? Go ahead and hit pause like for an hour while you figure this out, and I'll wait for you here. Welcome back. All right. It turns out that 2,457 was not even used in this problem at all. It wasn't nearly as hard as what I was thinking it would be. So negative 3/4, that's our slope for question A. And to make it perpendicular, we got to trade the rise and run around and switch the sign from negative to positive. So positive 4/3. Hey, today we're going to continue learning about how to write equations of perpendicular lines and parallel lines. Again, same learning target today that we had last time. You'll be able to find the equation of perpendicular lines and parallel lines. And we will be using these first two forms, slope-intercept and point-slope form. Um, Last time we only used point slope form to write our answers in, and today we're going to give our final answer in slope intercept form. So while we actually have an opportunity to use both of these forms, our final answers today will all be in slope intercept form. So let me start with an example of what the homework will look like. I'm not going to do this problem right now. I just want to show you what the questions are going to ask for. It's going to say write an equation for a line and then give you some characteristics to meet perpendicular, parallel, whatever. I want to focus on the answer blank here. Y equals has already been provided for us. The only way we can get an equation into this answer blank that is going to work is if we're using slope intercept form. We will not have to type that y equals again. It's already there for us, but that does tell us we must use y equals mx plus b. All right. Hey, so let's take a look at how to do this process. I'm going to show you two options. So option number one is to use point slope form to write our equation, and then we'll solve the equation for y. We've done both of those two things separately. We wrote equations using point slope last week for parallel and perpendicular lines. The previous week, we had changed forms between equations solving for y. So we've done something here, we've done something here. We're just going to put it all together and do it at the same time in the same problem. So let's take a look. Here's our problem. Write an equation of a line that passes through the point -6, 5, and is perpendicular to the line y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2,457. That was the same equation from the do now. So if you remember from that song last week, we don't care about the y-intercept. We're going to toss the old x. We're going to toss the old y. We're going to toss that old b. None of that stuff is important for us. The only thing we need out of this equation is the slope. And we saw this already in the do now, but negative 3/4, that's our original slope. But the line we're writing an equation for is going to have a different slope because we need to make it perpendicular to that. So we're going to change this slope by taking this rise and the run, move them all around. 4 goes on the top, 3 goes on the bottom, and then change the sign from negative to positive. There's my new slope. So positive 4/3 is going to go into this slope spot right here. I'm going to start at the beginning of the equation. So 5 is the y coordinate from that point. That's going to go into this green y box. -6, that's my x coordinate. And so that's going to go into this blue x box. Now I'm going to clean this up. I got a double negative inside the parentheses there, x minus -6. I don't want to keep that. So let's go y minus 5 equals 4/3 parentheses x plus 6. Okay, so we have an equation in point slope form. Next, I'm going to solve for y. To put it into y equals form, slope-intercept form, 2 steps. First step in this process is always to take the slope and distribute it, multiply it onto both terms inside the parentheses right there. So I'm going to get y minus 5 equals, none of that stuff changes. Then I'm going to distribute that 4/3. 4/3 times x will be 4/3 x. And 4/3 times positive 6, fractions. So I'm going to take that 6, multiply it onto the numerator. So 6 times 4, that's 24. Let's just write this over here so you can see what I'm doing. And then I can divide 24 divided by 3. That's 8. All right. So step 1 was distributing the slope. Step 2 is I need to do the opposite operation to get the y by itself. So since I have y minus 5, I'm going to add 5. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the equal sign and bring down y. These cancel, equals 4/3 x, and positive 8 plus 5, that gives me 13. Blam. Okay. Let's take a look at option number 2. So I'm going to use the same problem just so we can have some familiarity here. Option number 2, I'm going to write the equation in slope-intercept form the entire time. Now, we saw this a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you used it back then, but I showed it to you then, and I'll show it to you again now. So I'm going to start from y-intercept, start in slope-intercept form, but I will need to solve for the b, the y-intercept value. So here's what happens. First of all, out of this equation, I need to get the slope, which was negative 3/4. And since the directions are asking me to write in a line that is perpendicular, I'm going to change that slope to make it perpendicular. 4 on the top, 3 on the bottom, make it positive. It's the third time we've seen this just in the last couple of minutes. Okay, that's the slope I need to use. So that's going to go into the m. And then this negative 6, that's just the coordinates of a point, right? It's nothing special. It's not the y-intercept. But what it is an x coordinate. And so I can use it in place of the x in this equation. And this 5, that's a y coordinate. So I can use that in place of the y in this equation. So I got 3 colored circles. I'm going to put numbers there, the blue spot, the purple spot, and the red spot. The only thing left is the letter b. I don't know that. That's why I'm going to solve for b. So I'm going to use an algebra process to solve for the unknown thing. I don't know the y-intercept, but I can use the information I do have to get that piece of information. And then once I have it, I can write my final equation with the y-intercept as part of the equation. Okay, so here goes. We'll take that blue 5, that's going to go into the y spot. This purple slope, 4/3, goes into the slope spot. That gets multiplied onto the red negative 6. I'll use parentheses to keep the negative sign attached to the 6 and also to indicate multiplication all at the same time. And then plus b at the end. So that is a b, not a 6. I could write it as a capital B just so we can know that it's not a b. Sorry, that we know it is a b and not a 6 or something else. Okay, so now in order to solve for b, it's going to take me 2 steps. First step is I need to multiply together the 4/3 and the negative 6. And I will write that just over here in the margin. So 4/3 times negative 6. When I multiply this, I might want to see that negative 6 over 1, just so that both of these numbers that I'm multiplying are written as fractions. I don't actually need the over 1 part, but I'm going to multiply straight across the top. 4 times negative 6. That's going to give me negative 24. And then I'm going to multiply straight across the bottoms. 3 times 1. Or if I hadn't written that 1, then it would just be a 3 still. But 3 times 1 equals 3 either way. And then I can divide. Negative 24 divided by 3 gives me negative 8. So here's what I got. 5 equals negative 8 plus b. And now to get the b all by itself, I need to do the opposite operation to get the b by itself. So I'm going to add 8 to cancel that 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. 13 equals b. Okay, I'm not finished, but I have all the information I need now. So I used that algebra trick to find the y-intercept b. That's 13. Now I can write my whole equation because I know the y-intercept is 13, and I know the slope. That was the first piece of information I had. The slope will be 4/3. So final answer, y equals 4/3 x plus 13. All right, that's the exact same equation we got when we did option number 1, y equals 4/3 x plus 13. The options give you the exact same answer. It's just two different ways to get to the same place.